Welcome back to Numenera Rising Helix. We are in a situation, aren't we? We're going to get to that. For those of you who haven't joined us yet, this is your first time. We are Occultists Anonymous. We are friends who play games and crack silly jokes and make tons of references. I think that some of them you'll get, some of them you might not. However, you can feel free to inquire about those if you're joining us watching on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube, or by chance you're listening to the podcast. There are means and ways in which you can get the answers to your questions. Now, I'm sure that those of you who've been following are curious about where the story's going to go, what happened. We're going to get to that soon. The first thing we do in every episode always is to thank those who support us, including Roll20 and our generous patrons. And as is tradition, I'm going to read off the names of all you lovely patrons out there. So, hopefully it's updated in case there's this particularly sibilant phrase you want me to utter as I do this. All right. So, thank you, everyone. Your names are Adele, Eternalis the Mad, Al, Alex, Alexander Williams, Allied Adventurers Advancing to the Apex. Ooh, love the assonant alliteration. Alpha Wolf, 2803, Alsrid, Bernie, Buck Gregory, Chris Handforth, Doc, Emil, Fuse 82, George, I'm the Real 06, James Winfield, John Fitzgerald, Josh Drew, Camo, Chat Feathers, Klaus, Liturgical Entomology. Oh wait, no. We there was a correct pronunciation that Ash gave me last time. What was it? Mology. No, wait. Entomology. Yes. Liturgical Entomology. Yeah, that was it, right? Yeah, there we go. Long live the Queen. Melissa, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Mozart D minor, Other Guy, Perry, Foog, Porter, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Sean Kelleher, Shexara, Thomas Vogel, Toast, Vincent Hamilton, Vortex Falcon 00, What's a Circle? Why gender when you can serve the Iron Pyramid? And Sultan Kamini. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. As we want to do, if you are, the four of you are so willing, perhaps you can recount where we were, and then I can provide some details about where we've gone or where we're headed. And then we'll jump right back into the action.
Are you asking where we came from?
Yeah.
And where did we go?
Where did we go? Yeah.
I'm gonna have to separate them. Put them in
Three
different
time
voice
zones between us,
Yeah.
but
Put them in different voice channels. I'm gonna have to work this out. We were on the Creek Manses, hanging out with the elves. Elves caught all their food, and they're like, "Yep, all right, we're gonna go to nap for 2 weeks." And we're like, "Oh, okay, that sounds okay.
Cool.
We do this
It's the only
once
2
a
weeks of the
year."
year.
And that's
Oh,
all the sleep
no.
they ever get.
Yeah.
We had to stop talking to them because we kept giving them existential crises.
Some of us.
We operate as a group. All of
Just
us are
watching the horror
responsible.
set in.
The triumphs and the failures of us all are
That's right.
one.
It's mutual aid and collective responsibility.
Yeah.
We got them all tucked into bed, set up some
Yep.
plans, and then went through the plans to figure out what the hell we actually had in front of us.
That's right. That's exactly.
We figured out what the ice cream was.
Yes,
Mhm.
indeed. Yep.
Turns out it was Numenera. Who would have guessed?
Oh my God. What? Some that did something weird is Numenera. Wow.
He said the title of the movie.
Oh, it's there. You know it well.
What was the other thing? Got to meet all the other birds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Found out that all these people, the elves and their little bird friends, are all kind of representative of different roles and jobs. And we found the asshole overly competitive bird and put him in timeout.
That's right.
We did do that. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. I was very proud of it. We found out Lon had a partner who disappeared. Was it a year ago?
100 years ago.
100 years ago. That's right.
And Lon's partner was Hope.
Yep.
Yep.
So the community has been
Without hope.
without hope for a century.
Um,
And go ahead.
Didn't we find out that somebody like broke the technical chain for how to restart a civilization?
Yes.
Oh,
Somebody
yeah.
deleted data.
It
but
was
we don't
deleted, and they don't know how to get it back.
Know, and
Yeah,
we don't know
forgot
who did that though, right?
They forgot it.
Mhm.
You surmised.
Well,
It got corrupted in Shore.
yeah, that's right.
That was
exactly,
the data got corrupted by the ice cream.
Okay.
it's like they had step 1 and step 2, and then some static.
Yep.
And then the rest.
Indeed.
Well, yeah.
So they got trapped at step 2 because they couldn't progress.
Hmm.
We defragged him,
Exactly right.
and he stayed being a weird little bird.
He did. Just a little
Mhm.
guy.
That's his
Just sitting-
personality.
Yeah. That's right.
The other
exactly.
birds are all
Picture you,
fairly
Jim.
normal birds.
Yep. He spent 100 years talking to Lon.
got weird with it.
It got real strange.
Otherwise, I mean, Faye had a big hang on, if these guys go convergence on me, you all are going to help me deal with them. And
Yeah, you learned their vague recollection that they're part of the convergence and they were attacked, pursued somehow, and that's where they fled, and that they are supposed to be were supposed to establish a colony when they left their encampment, enclosure, clave, 798 years ago.
Mhm.
So,
haven't been back because, they got paused.
yep. they
But we
got
have
paused.
all the stuff for returning senescence and fertility and actually
Building
really
power
getting
and whatever you want to do. Yeah, so additional details just to remind you. Or no. Something we didn't discuss, but here we go. In the course of 2 weeks, you're going to be able to figure out how long it might take in
Mhm.
order to undertake these projects, right? You're going to be able to decide what you want to do, how you want to help them,
Mhm.
how much time you might want to allocate to this. Vet would first. I'll go through in order if it's okay, and tell you some things, and then I'd appreciate if you're willing to narrate some of the things you shared with me, because I think people on the stream would really want to hear that stuff.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So, Vet is going to be able to rather quickly determine, after they wake up, how long it's going to take to restore an important amount of memories to them. So, Vet is going to learn. If you were to stay for a decade, you could get them nearly all of the recoverable memories. That's a long time. However, you can get a great deal of the important ones within just about a year for all 50 that are there. It'll just take a lot of intensive work for you, but not so much that it's going to leave you impaired or debilitated or something like that. But that'll occupy a great deal of your time. But the advantage, of course, is you're going to learn a tremendous amount about what has happened before and what you might be able to do in the future.
Yeah, I think that's more what she would be going towards, because a decade is a long time, and I would really like to go home.
Yeah.
Very
Makes
much
sense
so,
to
yeah.
me. Makes
Although
complete sense.
we don't have any idea how to do that right now.
I'm hoping to
Well-
get that information from helping them.
Indeed.
That's one of Ruben's projects.
Wonderful.
Since it's his fault, this is their fault that we ended up here.
That's what they perceive.
Yes. Of course.
And it is justified to perceive that.
Yeah.
Just want to say, I haven't made it explicitly necessarily or
Yeah, I
revealed
appreciate that.
that it is.
It leaves the guilt in,
Yes.
in flux. All
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Well, I can start off
Go right ahead.
if you want.
Yeah.
Scroll back up when we were talking
Sounds good to me.
yesterday. Yeah. So yeah, especially with Faye's help, Riven honestly at a frantic pace those first 2 weeks,
Oh my gosh.
like,
yeah.
figuring out, like, still feeling like, we're not really supposed to be here. We're these people's sort of fairy tales, and they've had some bad luck and some bad things happening to them, and then compounded with Riven's tragic backstory and everything, like, sets the first goalpost of like, we need them to be able to have food,
Mhm.
and then wants to get them like on a normal, like, return to normalcy of like biology and y'all keep using that word and I forget it every time.
Senescence.
Senescence.
Aging.
Yeah. Fertility and aging and and all that, and then like with the farming being important on that, like farming and gathering and other things like that, because we don't know that these groves of trees can support normal metabolisms of the community, especially if it's were to start growing. So that
Do
is
they have seeds?
The pods? Yes.
yeah, they had seed
Geos too.
seed
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And you mean a seed bank? Yeah, they do have a seed bank.
Yeah, because
you
I know
were
they had all
right.
the information for farming. I was making
Yeah, I
sure they
think
actually had
Somebody
them.
found it.
I
Sure,
think
I
it's
was question
not
about
the-
that. Yeah,
Just-
the seed ball was
Yeah,
viable, right?
sure, showing off. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of what Riven's doing, is just like going and finding some sort of like plant that has like a mild stimulant to chew on or something like that, because they were
cool,
like
yeah.
forage, like they're used to like foraging and living on their own and stuff like that, and then just like
Mhm.
abusing that, obviously, to
Mhm.
to be able to work really hard while these people are awake, because like they really want to like have measurable progress for these people to wake up to, right?
Yeah.
Obviously we can't like build a society for them in 2 weeks, nor does Riven really want to do it for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like want to be able to be like, hey, we got you.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. That all
Next
sounds
up.
wonderful to me. Yeah. Next up.
I can go next.
All right.
So for the first 2 weeks, Blaze is pretty quiet, just spending a lot of time on his own. He was motivated by Faye to do some training once they're back and around, but he's been kind of lost because in a world where there isn't any overt challenges to throw himself against,
Mm-hmm.
how does one improve oneself, right? So he's thinking about that question a lot, and sort of turning more inward and contemplative than as usual. The world is a thing that I will defeat.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a change in his attitude. Once they're awake, he's going to be spending, like, he's very regimented, right? We're going to do 2 hours of martial training with anyone who's interested, including birds if they want, or
Yes.
the rest of the group or anything like that. With a focus on unarmed, because that's his shtick. But if nobody has that aptitude, then he'll get Faye to make some weapons.
Mm.
Basic, nothing, humming or blowing up or sparkly, just straight swords and shields and spears and things.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's proficient in all that stuff, so we can train that too. Other than that, he's going to spend some time in the waterfall and some time trying to figure out how he goes on from here. And like, from his perspective, this is just his life now. Like, he knows that people want to go back to wherever we came from. but he's not too worried about that necessarily. Like, this is here, we'll deal with it now. Kind of living in the moment.
Yeah.
Also, we haven't talked about it much, but he's if there's anyone in the group that's interested in the spirituality side of his beliefs, he'd be interested in doing some guided spirituality discovery with folks who may or may not be interested.
Wonderful.
But he's not going to push it on anybody or anything like that.
That makes sense.
I think Reuven would take him up on that, especially like towards the end of that first 2 weeks, like having like very much like put their whole energy into this project for, we'll call it 10 days or something like that, and like not sleeping as much and like, yeah, like something about like, you know what, like this is not how you used to be. This is not how you like were a fierce warrior in the other world and all these things. Like there is something in your friend to be respected and emulated.
That's
Cool.
wonderful.
Blaze was probably a little surprised at first, but would totally go along with it. And that was it for me.
All right.
And of course, he's available for any manual labor or whatever he's doing outside of that stuff.
That sounds good.
Faye is a building machine.
Yeah.
Number one, he makes a storyteller.
Ooh.
Because I
That is
don't
the
care.
storyteller.
I don't care if it's in there because I'm tier 4 and I get 2 plans. So I've been sitting over here scrolling through what am I going to make? And yes, I'm glad. Thank you, Ash, for asking. A storyteller is an automaton. And as I scroll back, and I really should have kept the page. There it
I
goes.
was thinking it would be like an interface for all of the data they have, right?
Sort of. It's actually not that useful. I have another thing that's more useful. No, the storyteller produces a limited automaton with a humanoid frame about the size of a very small child, but covered with soft fur and some Seski-like features. The Seski is on page 252 of Numenera Discovery for those playing at home. Is adorable, good boy, but not a dog. It has 2 modes. One is it gets activated and produces an entertaining yarn to delight a child, though it can adapt to its audience. And alternatively, it can be set to companion mode, where it interacts in an apparent smart but programmatic fashion to a particular person, usually its owner, providing simple feedback, encouragement, and company.
Mm-hmm.
Making one of those
Little
for
buddy.
the future kids.
Cool.
That's dope.
That's
Yep.
real nice.
And then the other one is, yeah, like I said, a little bit more useful. A library obelisk, which does do exactly what it sounds more like. Records audio, video. You can load stuff into it, ask it questions. But yeah, effectively loading all this data into a better interface than these weird table things.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. In the course of messing with the hard drives, right, and the interface, you would recognize that this is some archival means, and it's possible that they would have produced something that was easier to interact with. And then, of course, as you're going along, right, it's clear that that's what the birds are.
Sure.
Birds are knowledge made ambulatory and just given a pleasant form. And so it's possible that the members of that group, before they left, liked birds, or they chose birds. Not entirely clear, right? Because as we've discussed, as you're interacting with them, they act a lot like birds, except for Shore, who's just a little dude.
Just a little fella.
Yeah, he's just a little fella. Yeah. Alrighty. Ash,
Let me double check.
thank you.
Okay, yeah, basically, I've got my plan for the year.
Wonderful.
Trying to have like in-depth one-on-ones with every person there, where I go through and basically figure out how their memories are formatted, because the ones I've looked at so far have been different because they're different people.
Yeah.
And just trying to find what's there and fill in the blanks, and specifically looking for information on like Elkanah and Good Boy and the story of how the Jack that climbed the beanstalk into the sky of light.
Yeah.
And trying to work backwards from there to see if I can get any information about how we got here that might be useful to try to figure out how to get home.
Or what happened after we left.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
And also, at some point, I wanted to feel bad at broaching the topic with Lon of your missing partner, that this chatty, very friendly, naive bird just blurted out.
Blabbered about.
Yeah. Because they have optimism and
Yeah.
they think we can find them.
Yep.
But yeah, I do want to bring that up and start planning a trip to try to find them. Or to find out at least what happened to them if we can't find them.
It makes sense to me. I think those are wonderful goals. And I appreciate you all for sharing what you shared with me, with everyone else out there. Let me give you some I think, helpful feedback on the results of those things and where you can head next. And then we can jump right back into the action if you like.
Good.
I figure if it's okay with you, I'll describe this in the course of about a year of downtime, and then you can jump right back into the action.
Sure. Cool.
Because I think that would make sense based on Vet being occupied and all of you pursuing a bunch of tasks, and also that'll probably be the point at which you might be actually able to leave and start searching for Lon's partner, based on the information you get if you continue to choose to do so. So over the course of the year, the first thing that happens is this. They wake up and they are rather shocked that you're still there and nothing has happened, because the last time that they had experienced any outsiders, they destroyed their homes and forced them to flee. Right? Not here, not the Creek Manses.
Oh, okay. Right,
no,
right.
not the Creek Manses. No. Just, I mean, on the other side of the ice screen, right?
Right.
You know, that they made that month-long arduous trek across that artifact, that enormous protective artifact, in order to flee from people who were trying to kill them, perhaps persecutors, who knows, right? But they wake up and they're shocked by this. The birds are excitedly talking to them, because even the ones other than Shore, after paying attention, have become a little bit more human, right? They pick up on things, and you notice, the four of you notice, that Shore became who Shore is, not because of some distinct, unique quality about Shore. Shore has an individual personality. However, it's because a person talked only to Shore for 100 years. Right. So these birds are picking up on cues, and they're starting to mimic behaviors and also develop some inclinations themselves. They are as sentient as you can tell, right? This is the ninth world. These are constructs, they're artifacts of Numenera, right? They're people as well. They just had limited capacities because they weren't trained, in the same way that, you know, a child needs to be socialized in order to understand how to interact with other human beings, right? The birds start picking up some traits. So they help you and explain things to the elves as they wake up. And you also notice that the elves are much sharper immediately after they wake up. So it appears that they do recover to an important degree during their 2 weeks of sleep. And then there's a steady decline to the end, where they get more and more tired.
Oof.
So that's helpful, especially for Vet, as Vet is working through their memories, because as she starts doing that, it is less cumbersome than it would be if you were constantly interfacing with them at their tired state. And you can go through a lot more. So you're able to recognize that, yeah, if you were going to completely help them accomplish all of the plans there, it will take them about a decade to do that. Vet recognizes that it'll take about a decade to assemble all of the memories, but that's a lot of time. You're getting to the point where you think that, hey, you might actually be able to restore senescence and fertility to people. And right around that time, Vet is able to restore enough of their memories that they collectively remember that they made a promise to Lon's partner. Because she carried hope. And they wanted the first child of the new community to be one born of hope.
Oh. See.
Yeah. So they said, we want to know that it's not a possibility for Lon's partner to carry the first child before any of us do that.
Ruben probably finds that frustrating, but understandable.
Yeah.
I suppose I would just try to ask them, like, and if we can't find her?
Well, then our community will forever be bereft of hope, but we'll make do despite it.
That's a lot of pressure, man.
I mean, you still have hope. You hope that we will find her, and you can keep your promise.
I look around.
And you can have your children and live normal lives.
This is true. We will see.
And we will do everything we can to find her.
While this is happening, Lon is kind of over on the side, not really speaking. Shore's over there, like, whispering to him. Kind of like a friend would, like, on his shoulder, you know, like, nuzzling him, like, saying things in his ear. What do I mean? Like a friend would. Shore is his friend. Their friend, I mean. So anyway, the person speaking says to Vet, okay, this is all just so new. And we believe you because you are, and again, they use in capital letters, experienced adventurers.
Is it adventurers or travelers?
Travelers, sorry, that's right. Experienced travelers. That's right. Not adventurers, travelers. Yes. That's
Yeah, this ET's trying to phone home, though.
That's it. Yes. Some of the seeds in that seed bank look like Reese's Pieces. All right. So this is relatively trivial. Some other information I want to share with you, out of character that you're able to determine. You are able to construct a long-range aerial drone as part of one of the plans. And if you choose, you could release it to travel over the Whalefall, or travel over Whalefall.
That's very useful.
Yeah, I figured, hey, probably want to do that. You learn that it is 500 miles in diameter.
Jesus.
And Vet learns in the course of helping people assemble their memories that Whalefall appeared 600 years ago.
After they were here.
After they were here. Whalefall wasn't originally there. Whalefall just suddenly was there. There was they recall some kind of faint energetic tremor not like an earthquake, but like, oh, you know what? We can call it an airquake, right?
Sure.
The air didn't move exactly, but it felt like that.
Mhm.
Imagine if, there was a tremendous pulse of energy in the air,
Sure.
high magnitude, that didn't move things, but just felt like you were being jostled. And then suddenly it was there. And once you're able to recover some of their other more important memories, they felt pulses like this. Let's see. 400 years ago and 200 years ago.
Huh?
And there also was one.
2 weeks ago.
Damn. Rip.
Nope, not 2
And
weeks ago.
change.
Fortunately, not yet.
Okay.
There was one 1,000 years ago.
Prior to
Do they
their
have
arrival.
records of?
What was that, Chris? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do they have records of?
Yes. So before they left,
Mm-hmm.
the first time that anybody had record of this, it was 1,000 years ago. And that's about when the stories of the Jack and the Beanstalk of Light started being told.
Yep. Heard.
Cool.
I'm just worried now that we messed it up bad.
Something's
Nah.
happening.
We done goofed it major style.
So every few hundred years since we went to the Umphalos,
Yes.
something similar has happened.
You could, if for convenience, it probably might be good to call it like a, I don't know, dimensional tremor or translocation, right? People have different phrases they're using, because you didn't soon learn that all of these people came from different places on the planet before they joined the community, right? Like their original origins were different places. They're all about the same age, but it seems like their parents hail from different areas, as
Right.
though perhaps they were a group of convergents that converged over time.
Brought together to make a colony.
Exactly. Yeah. So these translocation events have happened every 200 years since you all visited the Omphalos.
So there should be one soon.
Probably going to be one this year. Mm-hmm. Hard to know precisely, but yeah. Or within about a year, because like every 200 years, right? This isn't exactly precise that they're telling you. It's just like, something like that. Could be within a year. Could have been last year. They don't remember that, right? So it's probably going to be in the future.
Happened while they were sleeping.
Yes, it could have been when they were sleeping, right? Like right
Completely
around now.
whiffed it. We have no
Yep.
idea. It's actually going to be 200 years from now. We'll just wait around for it.
That's right.
Shore probably would have noticed.
Sure, probably would have noticed. That's true. So, with the whalefall being 500 miles in diameter, you could easily calculate that it would probably take you, if you bring anyone with you, you wouldn't have to though. It would take you probably about a year's time to search it, unless there's something you can do to speed it up.
Speed, you say?
Yeah, right. Leave to you. You could calculate it like a search of an area that size with the conventional means available to you would probably take you about a year. However, you might have ways and means. Y'all are awesome. High tier, experienced travelers.
Yeah, I was wondering about the drone. Like, could we make more of them and have like a search party to scatter further than just we could go?
Yeah,
I was
that would
able
help
to
things.
see through the fog.
Can't see through the fog. The
Yeah.
drone isn't
Yeah.
able to see through the fog. But you can get below the fog.
We could
Oh,
use that-
right.
but we could use the drone to map out the area, and then we can set up a search grid.
Yes, absolutely. That'll
Be
make things more
methodical
efficient.
about it all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally.
Plus, just set Reuven to max speed.
Yeah, that's right. It does also mean you have to be within Whalefall. Well, you don't have to be. You'll be in Whalefall for a good portion of a year if it takes that long. So yeah, what are we gonna do? Let me see. Is there a note I forgot to mention? Useful stuff. Oh, just to remind you, it took them a month across the ice cream. In case you had forgotten that part. Oh yeah, there is one more thing. I mentioned the translocations. There is a vague reference to a purge of the Convergence starting 1,000 years ago, and Tronic Amber becoming simultaneously more valuable and more scarce around that time. Yeah, I think that's it that I wanted to share with you.
So my theory that we detonated a whole bunch of Tronic Amber in our leaving is seems to be
seems pretty on point.
Seems possible.
I'm not a big science guy, but piercing space time like that's gotta take a ton of energy.
Yeah. Very good, Blaze. So you've been learning something from me, just like I've been learning from you.
Oh,
This is true.
I have got to ask, Ralph, what
yes.
does this place look like now that it's a year older?
Ooh, cool. Yeah.
Because I can build a library obelisk in a day.
Yeah.
And feel like
So you've had a year of building.
I have had a year of building.
To be fair though, I think Faye does as much tinkering and tweaking as building.
I have plans to work off of. I don't have to tinker with anything.
Yeah, but you can always make it better, right?
That's actually not really Faye's thing. Like,
Oh, okay.
What you don't have is like infinite
Resources.
right, and that is one of the other things
Yeah.
I want to figure out, because if they came here with all these plans, where did they plan to get resources from? Because especially as the Tronic Amber actually is what made me think of, what does everything look like now? Do we have to have mines set up now to pull up raw material? What do we, Because I
So-
imagine it's not just how many did we have? 12 creek mances just sitting on the river anymore.
I think it's 10. I might have said 12. I thought I said 10. But we'll go with 12. That's fine. So what you learn, I'd say it probably takes you about 6 months because no one's really paying attention to this. And then that helps somebody remember something really important. And then they bring it up. And then Reuven and Faye check. And they're like, oh my God, of course, right? The creek mances are hyper efficient hydropower generators.
Sure.
And they connect to produce one really efficient array. And you find batteries in them and stuff like that. There are also plans for an array of photovoltaics that also function with polarized light. So even when things are cloudy, you can get power. So you will have enough power to support a community of 250 people within the year.
There's only 50 of them currently, right?
Yes, there are only 50 currently. And over time, you'll need to find a place to get raw materials. To be honest, there's some harvesting happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not too far away.
Yep.
Not too far away.
We're already scouting.
Yep.
Well, because that's the other thing. It's like, if it's been a year, how much have we been over to the Whalefall already?
You got to tell me that.
Gotcha.
They are very nervous about it,
Yeah.
I feel
Actually-
like we would kind of get them over that
Okay.
a lot, just because the fact that we traveled through it already and we can assure them that it was fine.
I mean, we could probably have exploratory measures of these things. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like go out foraging and like take a couple of them with us and show them how not to alert the jellies.
Well, and I'm sure Blaze would love to use this as, live training exercise. Unless Blaze is afraid of the jellyfish after last time.
No, he's not afraid of them. The only difficulty he had last time was he wasn't allowed to kill them.
Right.
Yes. That's right.
Wasn't
could've
wasn't
stemmed the
allowed,
tide.
and it wasn't a good tactical decision. Are two very different things, Blaze.
Well, that's the bucket that he's put it in mentally.
Right.
I love
I
it.
think Blaze would try and discourage like a full-scale expedition of the Whalefall until these folks had a level of proficiency to be able to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So I'm not sure how long that would take or what their aptitude is, but
Sure.
weeks
Oh,
or
that's
a couple months or
yeah,
something.
As it typically takes with martial arts and training, right? Within 6 months, people have learned enough that they're reasonably proficient in following certain orders, especially because I imagine you're not indoctrinating them like this would be in a boot camp, right? And you're not
Right.
trying to get them to kill somebody with a long range weapon. So the point at which they're able to defend themselves and function really well, considering their individual limitations, it would take about 6 months. And of course, that works in the timeline of the year to restore all their memories just fine. Wouldn't be troublesome for you. Of the birds that join, Shore definitely joins. At first, because Shore is just super curious about anything anyone is doing, right?
Mhm.
And has been watching Blaze do physical things ever since Blaze offered to sprint, and Shore just watched him sprint for a long time. With the spirituality stuff, Lon, Shore, and one of the other birds join you.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And just to put a point on it, he's training them to be able to do this on their own without having to rely on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that's right. I did say, hey, take orders, but you intended it
Right.
for them to be independent.
Mhm.
Were you about to say something, Chris? Okay, cool. Yeah. So suffice it to say that 6 months they'll get to the point where they can do that. After a year, especially the ones that are actively training with you, they'll be fine.
Okay.
And yeah, you
So-
all can convince them that, hey, it's okay to go to Whalefall, provided that you don't unnecessarily jostle these jellyfish.
Mhm.
Right.
Unfortunately, after a year of training, they're able to increase in level.
Right.
So it means that they don't immediately automatically get defeated by the jellyfish.
Right.
The reverse
Good for-
happens. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, okay. So how do you want to start investigating it? Would you like me to narrate up into the point where there's something interesting? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Great. So you head to Whalefall with, let's say, 4 of them want to go with you. So that each of you have a partner from the troop. The rest of them are staying back, engaged in Oh, I got to answer your question. Drew, sorry.
Okay.
How does it look? They leave the Creek Manses as soon as there are homes on the bank and elsewhere. And you're able to create a little hamlet. There are defensive devices that they can create. These little pulsing scepters that are in the ground that kind of look like a street lamp, but instead project this anti-passage field. You want to call it like a force field. It's hard. It's not exactly force. It's more like audio and like a physical pressure, but it keeps things out when they turn it on at night. And you haven't yet seen whatever it is that they're trying to avoid.
Mhm.
That
I was going to ask about that.
yeah, you haven't yet seen it. Now, it's possible that these things hide somewhere in the ground, or they come from a long distance, or maybe they're not around anymore, right? They could have just been there. They could have been migratory, and they were there when they first came, and that's why they stayed on the river, and they're just not there anymore. But Ved is able to get vague impressions of those memories. Those memories were few and far between, and so they aren't present in large number. But they look like six-legged alligators. Yep. And they hopped. Yeah.
Not okay.
Weird
He's so
creatures.
cute.
Alligators are great because all you have to do is just keep their mouth closed and it's fine. But when they start hopping, they can body
Hop in
slam
what
you.
way? Hop in what way? What is the like a inchworm kind of hop,
Sinuous.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
or like hop back and forth?
They don't.
Sets
they
of
don't-
legs.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like galloping?
Or is it
Uh,
like 6 bunny legs working in unison?
They have a 4-foot vertical leap.
100% not
like
okay.
a 6-legged kangaroo crocodile.
Yes, exactly.
Incredible.
Fuck, we're in Australia.
Yeah, they can
we
leap.
did head south.
Yep.
True.
they can jump pretty high. So, but those are just vague impressions of that, and you don't know where they are. You haven't seen
Sure.
them yet, right? Which doesn't mean you won't see them or can't find them. Just
Mhm.
in the year,
Drop bears.
I don't-
Got it.
I'm assuming that you kind of stayed around the area, right?
Blew in
So
on the northerlies.
yes. So yeah, there you're able to set up the photovoltaic array and allow the creek mantis to function for their true purpose, which is to generate hydropower and be like an archive and database for the plans.
Cool.
Yeah, and everyone has houses and stuff like that, places to live. So you can make little roads in there, but there isn't enough resources for you to make pavement or asphalt or anything like that.
Mhm.
But you have the means to compact dirt pretty well, so you can make pretty good old school roads.
Gotcha. So we're still very like rural village look.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, in terms of the look of the area, but you can have as many Numenera devices as you want that you can
Right.
build within that time. So there's just a finite amount of space.
I was picturing very like colonial fort sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Exactly. Yeah, just imagine like a futuristic colonial fort
Mm-hmm.
instead of a palisade, right, with tall lumber, right? It's just these interspersed beacons.
Mm-hmm.
And a funny little field in between them.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Cool. So, yeah, four of the elves join you all, so that you can all split up if you so choose, right? Or direct them as a group if you so choose. And you enter Whalefall. Everyone wishing you well, and Shore asking to come along, which Lon is reluctant for because Lon and Shore have been together this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And Lon looks to you all when Shore asks that.
I think Reuven tries to dissuade Shore. Shore, you have filled a role as a compatriot of Lon for all this time. And as such, you are almost sort of an expression of Lon's friendliness. But you also should have been an expression of hope, of her companionship. And if we go into the Whalefall and do not find her, then you may have to be the hope of this community.
He opens to speak, and he is speechless for the first time.
For the first time in a year and a half.
And he sits back, But this time when he sits back, it doesn't look like some weird affectation. He looks like, he's dumbfounded by that responsibility.
Yeah. And like
Yeah,
Ruben totally is like,
yeah.
I've just put too much pressure on this little guy. But like it very much feels like that would be horrific too, especially if something happened to Shore
Yes.
and we didn't find hope. Like,
Yes.
like that would be absolutely devastating.
Yeah,
to
be
Lon.
bad.
That's when I had that Reuven was totally going to side with Shore. Or Blaze
Mhm.
was going to totally side with Shore, but Reuven's speech won him over.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna offer to let him ride in my coat with my bird, and we'll keep
Mhm.
you safe.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone can override Rufus. That's fine.
I mean, it's
Like,
Shore's
if we want to have,
decision.
if we want to have
so-
good boy flappy adventures, like that's fine. But like,
Good boy, Flappy.
I mean, it's up to Shore. If
yeah,
this is a very good speech you've made, but if he still wants to come, then
yeah.
I will put him in my big coat pocket.
Shore's beak's still open when you offer that, and turns to you, and it kind of looks, and Lon looks at you and shakes their head. he's out.
You have to have your dad's permission, Shore. Otherwise, we're not taking you.
Yeah, Shore is laying back in the I'm dead posture, right?
Just fully all the way on his back, wings spread.
Yep,
Feet up.
exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
feet up.
Wings down, feet up.
Yes.
I will pat his little belly.
Yeah.
Just stay safe. Keep Lon company.
Yes,
Before we
Right.
go to the whale fall, do we want to
Yes.
take a quick break?
that's
Mm.
okay with me. I was about to
Seems
suggest
good.
that. Sure. All right, everyone. We'll be back in a minute. Twitch folks, YouTube, you're not even going to notice. Wow. So yes, our experienced travelers approach Whalefall with 4 members of the elves in tow. Unfortunately, not Shore. Fortunately, not for Shore, but fortunately for everyone else. Reuven gave wonderful counsel, saying, "Hey, sometimes you're more important to people than you realize."
Gave this
Yeah,
bird
really.
an existential crisis.
Really,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
a hell of a speech, if I may say
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
I agree. Everyone's experiencing existential
For someone that
crises
has,
in this place.
a hindrance on charm and persuasion and etiquette, got out there on it.
You know what it felt like to me? It felt like rugged honesty, right?
Yeah.
Like the kind of thing that someone who's lost someone tells someone when they forget that when you're part of a community, you have responsibilities and you can't just go wherever you
Turns
want.
out when you live in a society.
Yeah. Right. And especially considering that Reuven has gone to so many places
Yep.
and mattered to so many. Speaking from a
Some
Great
of which
place.
were real,
Actually,
some
that's
of which
true.
were more real than others.
That's what I was going to say. How much does Reuben know? How many were like clearly NPCs, or was it just so immersive you do not know who were real people and who were just?
I mean, they had a wife and a child.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
like, how does that work? Like, they
Yeah.
only really barely processed that it was a game, right? Because there were like game elements of
It's true that no longer appear in existence. Yeah.
right.
I mean, if the conversation ever came up between Reuven and Blaze would be like, well, it was real to you, so it was real.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much
Hmm.
how they process their grief about it, right? Is that
It happened. You experienced it. You
whether or
remember
not it was real, like if they could go back at some point,
Yeah.
that would be a choice they would make. But anyways, time
Yes.
to hunt some whales.
Time to look.
Doing?
Do some things. Yeah. So you all enter Whalefall at right around the end of that first year of having been with the elves. You have a great plan. You're going to use the drone to help you map out places to make it more efficient, which makes you suspect that with that aid, it'll probably only take you 8 months to confirm whether or not she is still present within Whalefall, right? You'll know if, hey, you're not going to find anything in about 8 months.
She's also spent 100 years not sleeping.
Yes, she has spent 100 years not at the Creek Manses. So as far as you know, she hasn't been able to benefit from the geode-induced sleep for about 100 years.
Oh no.
She will be fucked up in a major way.
So
Yeah,
slow.
she might be. Yeah.
She might be like functionally hibernating.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, like what happens to a non-aging body, right? Because they still expend energy somehow, right? But they're not aging. They just sleep and they recover. So there must be something going on, right?
So that
They
would
slow
definitely
down.
change our search tactics. Like we're not looking for someone who's looking to be found. We're looking for someone who can't respond.
We're looking for
Yeah.
a rock.
Yeah.
Specifically because that whole alabaster skin thing and
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's great.
in
And-
among bone. Damn it.
Yep. You get it. Yeah, finally. The bone dust. Yes, it's the same color. So, yes, as you go in over the first few months, you don't recognize it immediately, if it's okay for me to say this, that perhaps the floor being covered in this meal, this silt, the color of alabaster, is actually going to make it harder potentially to find her if she fell somewhere on the ground, right? Maybe she's covered by it. Maybe it moved around and she's in an area of Whalefall that doesn't see a lot of movement. You also, you know, you're moving here and there and you start seeing a few new ones, right? Must have been new because you were last here about a year ago and you saw some fresh corpses then. If you were to choose to try and enter where you exited before, you would see that those corpses that were fresh when you exited are now picked clean.
Yep.
And you would find newer ones. So you would then surmise that in this translocation event, there's something happening wherein somehow there are creatures that are coming into Whalefall. Because as of yet, you haven't seen anything living here. You haven't seen the creatures themselves. You've just seen their corpses that are even relatively fresh, definitely dead.
Just a quick back of the envelope calculation. At the rate that they consume a particular corpse,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be hundreds of years for them to consume a corpse, right?
That's exactly right. It would not be
Yeah.
hundreds of years. Yeah.
So these corpses are arriving on a regular basis.
They are indeed arriving on a
From-
regular basis.
Somewhere.
From somewhere. Yes, from somewhere.
Just
Possibly how we got there.
Mhm.
Could be.
Something porting them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Could be some stable translocation that results in whatever happening being sent to Whalefall. Or it could have been a timing thing. You know, hard to know.
With
Yeah.
more info on what has happened in the area and things like that,
Yep.
could Reuven try and, like, especially as we're spending time across a while, could Reuven find out some of these things that we're sort of puzzling about, some answers to them?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
Go ahead and roll again. This time you have an asset. You have had access to memories of people who were around when Whalefall first came. Also
Mhm.
people who were alive while you were in stasis.
Mhm.
And yeah, you've had plenty of time to think about this and approach it.
But
Consider
difficulty was it?
it's only be difficulty 6. I think last time it was difficulty 8 to understand certain things about them. So
You're saying the assets have lowered it to 6?
yes, yeah.
Hey, Faye, just as for future thought, could you conceivably catch and release some of these constructs with tracers on them to see if there's a nexus or a locus or something that they travel to?
Mm.
Faye just points to the little hubs that we saw a year ago where they
Well,
congregate.
yeah, but
and
presumably
You
those
gotta be
move.
fucking kidding me.
oh no, Chris.
You want to? I mean, you've acquired.
That's
reroll
so
XP over
hilarious.
time. Do you want to spend
I
an
would,
XP
I
to
would,
reroll
I would,
it?
I would love to spend an
Please.
XP
Please do so.
to not roll one of the 2 numbers on the dice that made me fail.
Yes. Go right ahead.
I was sitting there debating: do I need 2 levels of effort? No, I'll go 3. I'll spend all the
you
points
know
so I
what?
can like
I'll
really
just-
guarantee it.
Yes, exactly.
Fuck you, Roll20. Sponsored by Roll20.
Mm-hmm.
Roll 20. Get rid of the 0. It's roll 2.
Roll 2. My God. Hooray! I rolled higher than a 2.
Hooray!
That's
Behold.
a 10, folks. I don't usually
Look
see
at
that
that.
number.
Yay! All right. What would you
Yeehaw.
like to know?
I think the things that Reuven would be focused on, keeping in mind those like pulses, and we know that like one maybe is coming up soon,
Yeah.
and that might be there might be a way to like invert that or channel that and go back or something.
Yeah.
Is they want to understand how things are getting here and whether that's tied to the same phenomena.
Cool. All right. You comb through this information. You've heard of smaller translocations before in your studies as a Neon Priest and as a World Walker, right? Like hopping between dimensions. You're familiar with the general notion. And you know that for something to stick around and to have regular travel, there must be a continuous energy link, that it is extremely energetically demanding to translocate things. And translocating something that's 500 miles in diameter is absurdly expensive energetically. So usually what happens is you teleport or translocate something to one place and that's it, and it doesn't go back. But the fact that this came and things are going into it suggests to you that something's maintaining it. It must be anchored somewhere. And you suspect that given enough time and access to enough energy, you might be able to reverse a translocation.
Right. How much time and energy?
Well, you'd probably need... Depends. If you were working on it on your own, right? You would need to assemble... You know what? I'll say this. You would surmise that a pillar of Tronic Amber, the same size as the Amphalos, you could do a lot of things with that.
Yeah. Maybe you wouldn't even need the stars to be aligned.
Exactly. Maybe you wouldn't even need the stars to be aligned.
Okay.
And of course, you know from your experience, and you learned when the stars are aligned. Woo, shit.
Yeah.
Also, in reviewing this, right, these bones, you are getting, Reuven is in particular, because of the fact that you were in other dimensions before. You get the impression that it's possible that this area is not from Earth, or at least the Earth you know.
Right. Whereas the Creekman's village is.
Yes, definitely.
We definitely know
Yes.
that is true.
You definitely know it's true. It is from the planet you know. Just
Right.
it came from time after your past, right? This is from, it's either from a planet out of sync, something happened, right? Like maybe, you know, something's going on there, but you do know, I mean, dimension hopping is a thing you're aware of that previous empires were able to accomplish and still happens. And as I said, Reuven's already done it, right?
Right.
So,
I think with Faye's help, like if Reuven like postulates an idea, you could like come up with something, right? Sort of. I mean, like in the fiction, right? Like we don't have to necessarily completely play by the rules here, but like, I mean, because we already kind of did that with the arm and the tracker and everything in the
Mhm.
first place. So, like, Reuven wants to postulate the idea of something to figure out where the next
Cool.
arrival will be,
Awesome.
Okay.
so they
Yeah,
can like pull that energy or like examine it as it's happening and stuff like that.
that's great. That's
I
a
love
great
that the dynamic between those two is like a theoretical scientist and an experimental scientist.
No,
Yeah.
it's a scientist and an engineer.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a
The
The
great
idea is like
combo.
Reuven comes up with these harebrained ideas and like, well, how would I test that? And then build something to test it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's just a modification of a temporal chime.
There we go.
And then Reuven nods. Yeah, makes sense.
So
Temporal chime, for the people who don't have the book.
yes,
Temporal chimes are terrific. Hit the chime. It rings 3 to 4 weeks ago. If I modify it, it can be exactly a week earlier.
I'm kind of wondering what the practical application of that might be.
Clang! We're under attack.
To remind yourself of something you forgot.
if you want to tell yourself in the
Make
past,
yourself not forget it.
that's the way you do
Oh,
it.
like a Bill and Ted thing.
Yeah,
We have to
Yeah.
remember to put the book behind the dumpster.
back in time.
Oh.
Yes, you could do that.
Yeah.
How
All
do you
this
want
is
to
still
do that?
while we're like on expedition and looking for hope and stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly right. hmm Yeah, I'd say the insights probably come to you after maybe 3 months of being within. Yeah, around the
Finding
same
up
time you
various bits
realize.
of whale.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Seen a lot of this stuff, seen the corpses. You're absolutely confident that they must be continuously coming through in a volume enough for these dispersed fishies and jellies. And you reach that realization right around the same time. You're like, oh my God, this bone dust. If she fell on the ground and is like catatonic somewhere, as opposed to being like sequestered, she
Could be
might be
buried.
covered and it's going to be harder to find her. So yeah, how do you want to modify that chime?
I mean, more specifically, I'm just going to invent a thing that will do this.
Okay.
Which is,
Sounds good.
in my mind, cipher.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If you want it to be one-time use, yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. Don't need no IO for that.
And well, hell, technically,
Mhm.
I can just use temperamental cipher.
Oh, that's quite true.
But I am going to have to ask Ralph, do I have XP to spend on
do.
picking out on a temperamental cipher?
You do.
Cool. So I have a temperamental cipher that will do exactly that.
Great.
I'm imagining I'm imagining the Dragon Ball radar in
Oh,
my
cool.
head.
I was thinking a dowsing rod, just straight up like a
That's
fucking
fun.
dowsing rod.
I like that.
Sure.
But yeah, Dragon Ball radar also is great.
Just
Wonderful.
like hold it up, ping that direction. You know, a day later, another ping. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So you can make that easy enough. And you've been canvassing it. The drone has been, flying over for months and sharing information with you, right? And when you get that, you start picking up these pings, and they take you closer to the center of Whalefall.
Of course.
And you get there after one has come through. But because you've been approaching steadily, you know the basic timing of it. And it seems like one comes through every week. So, if you hang out for a week, you'd be able to watch when one arrives. And when it does, you understand why the elves called it something like an earthquake.
Mm.
Because at this distance, it is, like an aftershock of the original translocation. It gives you an impression that it must have been terrifying or confusing the first time one of these translocation events happened and people didn't know what was going on. So yeah, there's a giant pulse of something that you feel. If you feel as though you've been rocked and jostled, but your position hasn't changed, and there's no long-term damage like concussion from an explosive device or something like that happens to people.
Is it
Go ahead.
any different or more dangerous
Mhm.
or less intense to Reuven when they make themselves between worlds at the time that it happens?
Oh,
cool.
okay. At the time that it happens, the pulse goes and you are suddenly under the water drowning.
Oh shit.
And then before you can, involuntarily swallow water in the darkness, you come back.
Before you implode with pressure of the water?
Exactly, yeah. Before any of the problems happen associated with being who knows how far below the surface
Yeah.
of the ocean you are, you come back.
Are they covered in water?
No, they're not.
Really?
But they're covered in bone meal.
Oh shit.
They're covered
What?
in the silt
Oh
that's
yeah.
present here.
Reuven just like,
And the reason why, of course, out of character, Drew, is here, right? This is supposed to be like, it seems like it's supposed to be underwater,
Mhm.
but things are happening as though
Yeah.
you are, but it isn't water. You're not wet when you're in Whalefall. So when Reuven comes back, Reuven appears as though they were in
right.
what this place is supposed to represent.
Right. That was a bad idea.
What?
You're alive.
I was drowning for a second.
You're alive.
Yeah.
Did you get new data?
I was drowning for a second.
So
That's the new
it's
data.
literally
It's literally
transporting
underwater.
sea creatures. Every so often, a pulse and some ocean drops some
It's-
critters here.
Some ocean
Very
with weird cybernetic boned creatures.
Well,
All right, when are you going back?
nope. No,
I'm gonna
thank
strap
you.
some. I'm gonna strap some cameras to you.
That's right. Ninth World James Cameron makes you a submarine.
Yeah.
Oh no.
If only we could make a Stargate probe, right? So we
Actually-
could send through a portal
Something
like
to
that.
send through during
Just
the
to say,
pulse.
can you send other stuff out of dimension? Because I thought, and that face is on brand with what I was expecting. Because I thought it was
Right.
you doing stuff,
Me
not
going.
necessarily you manipulating
Could
reality.
I
Around.
mean you could like, depending on, you said like it's like one every week, right?
Yes.
Like it kind of is up to like how Ralph would rule it, of whether I can like let something go there while I'm phased, because it is like things I'm carrying with me.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I don't know.
If you planned it out, because you're there for a moment, right?
Yeah.
It is a second, like just hand wavy. Once you're able to measure it and you're prepared, you're able to tell that it is 1 second,
Right.
precisely 1 second, 1 Earth second. You could release something if you were ready.
Okay.
You
That is
definitely
going
would
to
want to
be
make sure that it could withstand the pressure at that depth.
also true. Yeah, I was gonna say that's also going to be a really frustrating timing thing. All right, you have 1 second. Let go. Up, too late.
Exactly.
Now we have to wait a week to try it again. Meanwhile, you are getting continually crushed beneath the ocean. Yeah, Ruben, I'm not
Yeah.
going to make you do that.
So you will notice this. You're doing it. You know what it's like at the bottom of like the Marianas Trench. Or I'm saying in the setting in the Ninth World. You know what the pressure is estimated to be at the bottom of the deepest crevasse in the oceans of
We can't make shit
the
that that's
planet. Yes.
yeah.
Exactly. This is much greater than that. So if Reuven does it too many times, there will actually be problems.
I'm sure.
Physiological problems.
If we can't actually, like, if Faye would get the idea pretty quickly, we can't at this time make anything that would survive it. So Reuven refuses to go back.
Right.
Gotcha.
Because it doesn't, like, that was
There's
not
no
good.
chance, right? Yeah.
Like, they'd be willing to do it one more time. But if it's like not even going to be reasonable that we could make something to survive it, then absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah. You could eventually do that.
Because they don't know. I mean, one of these times Reuven's going to walk and they're not going to come back, right? Like that is the thing that they operate under. Every time they use their power is that they could slip fully into somewhere else at any time.
Ooh, yeah, let's not have that. Not this place. But fortunately, you do get some other information because you're trying to pay attention to what's happening, right?
Mhm.
So let's imagine the first time you see one of these carcasses come through and you can finally resolve it in full. So this one looks like, let me get the name correct.
Is there
I
any
think I'm thinking of
indication
an
that it's
ichthyosaur.
actually alive when it crosses over?
No, it's dead.
Okay.
It's dead when it crosses over. Yeah,
Because they're already like falling.
Falling.
Yeah.
Yes,
falling.
exactly. Yeah.
They're
They
already
must have-
whale falling before they come here.
Yes, they somehow this is an anchor point and they pass through. Oh yeah, so it's an ichthyosaur, a giant ichthyosaur. And this one, I would laugh. My notes. I think this one's smaller. This one's only. Get the unit correct. Yeah, this one's only 150 feet long. Eyes are rotted out or moistened, picked by crabs. But yeah. Exactly.
That's 4,572 centimeters for metric, folks.
That's definitely helpful for them.
It's centimeters. Move the decimal if you want it in meters.
Come on, baby.
I'm just curious why you went to fucking centimeters.
This is what calculator defaulted to.
So
Just hate crime
Yes.
Craig right here on live national television.
I saw this enormous ichthyosaur at the Royal Tyrrell Museum.
Oh, cool.
21 meters long.
Oh,
Whoa.
It was wild.
That's
While we're talking
huge.
about things
Oh
that
my
have sword in the
God.
name, y'all hear about lips? Y'all keyed up on that dinosaur news? Y'all hear about Tyrannosaurus having lips?
No.
I posted it in Discord. Posted the article was written by a guy named Dino, I'm sure, but
What?
But yeah, basically they have
Probably a Greek person.
I mean that's a theory that's been out for a bit. It's
Yeah.
not like new information, but like instead of having like crocodile teeth out the side, just
Uh-huh.
that they had skin over them.
Oh,
Like
okay. Lizard-like
a
lips.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
All
a
right.
salamander or something.
Like a
Oh,
normal
gotcha.
lizard mouth, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Terrible.
Mhm.
Every day we stray further from God's light, and by God's light I mean Jurassic Park.
you
the
mean
movie.
Steven Spielberg's?
Yes.
Straight T-Rex.
all right. Anyways,
Yeah,
we
Running
were
out.
hopefully
running around
finding a
cheesing at
not
everyone.
dead woman.
Yes, that's right. So yes, that's the plan, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you're able to the insight I imagine you're trying to get is, all right, what can this teach us about these translocations in general, and how can we use that information to accomplish our own goals?
Right.
That ostensibly being get back home or find
Right.
out where the next translocation is going to occur. Yeah. So yes, you're able to get some kind of signal, and you notice something. That there's this, it seemed like background chatter at first, and then if you're tuning your devices to try and precisely appreciate what's happening here, there's some faint faint indication of something like that happening elsewhere. You can't tell what distance or precisely where it is with your device, but it seems like there's a pulse and then there's a pulse here. So there's a pulse somewhere else that's really faint. You're not within range of it, right? But it's either powerful enough or close enough that you get some faint indication that there is some kind of energetic pulse happening elsewhere on the planet, and then there's a pulse happening here, and that's what brings the carcass through.
Like a beacon firing.
Yes, exactly. Like, as we discussed, there needs to be something stable and constant.
On this side.
It's stable, right? On this side that that anchors these translocations. And there needs to be a source of energy that makes them function if more things are brought through. So you're able to confirm that there is indeed some pulse somewhere.
Okay.
Suspect we might know where.
Maybe. Yep. Could be.
Would like
It's
to
not
find
an unreasonable suspicion. What was that, Chris? Sorry.
Would like to find this thing,
Yes.
but like also, like Reuven is conscious to not like just send us on wild goose chases and cut down on the like actual like survey of the area to find hope and stuff like that. Right.
That makes sense.
It's more
Yeah.
like if we know where this might be, we could start working that way
Mm-hmm.
over time of the expedition, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
I'm sure Faye is actually keeping like a grid of where we've explored, because in the event that we need to sidetrack, go around a bunch of anchored jellyfish, stuff like that.
Right. And we don't find any evidence of like the terrain shifting or transporting back or anything like that, right?
No. Seems pretty stable.
So
Like,
it's
even
not
as you're watching these events.
a maze that resets when you're not looking at it, right?
Yeah. That would be really inconvenient, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Ralph-
with this particular one. Because
Yeah.
you're watching the carcasses and they steadily get pruned, right? Harvested, and they don't reset, fortunately. Cool. So yeah. How many weeks do you spend there?
I mean, for Faye, we're here until we find, well, especially now that we have a beacon to look for too, we'll go to the beacon, but we're staying here until we find her or we cleared the whole damn
Until we get
place.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure how many weeks you were spending at the center where the pulse is happening.
At the pulse itself, as soon as we get a beacon, Faye's ready to go.
All right, excellent. Cool. So that would only take you'd only need 2 weeks for that. The first week, the thing happens to Reuven, then you perceive what's happening, and you have a week to make a device that you can use to try and recognize what's happening, and the second week you get it, and you're able to move on. So, you've been in Wellfall for about 4 months, and you're moving around, and the drone suggests that how does it describe it? It doesn't exactly find footprints, but finds faint signs, and you're able to view this through, the feedback. Faint signs of passage towards the far end. It looks like the opposite end of the circular area from where you passed out. So you're at the center, which is about 250 miles from where you entered. And if you were to proceed 200 miles further south, that's right, because we said it was north. The Creek Manses are north of Whalefall. You proceed 200 miles south of the center of Whalefall. There's an area of activity, probably past activity, that the drone suggests might be worth investigating.
On we go.
Cool. So, how many miles do you want to travel a day?
Considering we have the elves tagging along, and I'm sure they are going to be the thing that determines our pace, because I don't think they're that fast.
No, they aren't particularly fast. They aren't
Especially
tall
for
and long,
Reuven.
Yeah.
Poor Reuven is doing the, I'm going to scout out. Come back, check in. I'm scout out.
I'm gonna scout out again.
Yeah.
I imagine that's how we're like speeding up the search process. Is Reuven doing a lot of it?
Yeah, just this radius off of our main contingent moving forward.
Yeah.
Totally. So, at the pace they're comfortable, it'll probably take you about a month to travel those 200 miles on foot.
Well, they might be a little uncomfortable, but yeah.
I mean, you could speed them up. It might cause them a little issue, but I'd say that's probably a reasonable pace for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. I don't want to like injure them.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So, after 5 months in Whalefall, you arrive on an area where you notice a few things. You notice bones that are broken.
As opposed to completely scavenged.
Yes, exactly.
Mm.
Broken, like something heavy hit into them. And you don't notice any of the fish or jellies.
Oh.
So the bone meal is heaped up in places. Like there are little mounds of it, like after a volcanic eruption, and ash dumps on the ground, and no one's cleaned it. So in the other parts, as you've seen, there's a layer of silt that seems relatively uniform, and it kicks up as you move across and swirls through the not water, right? Here, there's just mounds of it, so, it's heaped up high enough that it's so heavy that it doesn't swirl up as you approach.
Mm.
You're not, causing some kind of movement in the not water that forces those mounds of silt to lift. And you're about 50 miles from the edge of Whalefall, the southern edge, which takes you somewhere else on the planet
Right.
that the drone has seen. So.
Can you disturb these piles?
You want to go do that? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kick a foot through it.
I take a tool. Thank you. Yeah, I remind you that the first part of my character's description is rugged. And
Take your walking stick and poke.
the number one thing we're not going to do is jump over a log without looking at it.
That's a good idea.
Poke it with a stick.
Yep.
Exactly.
Cool. So you poke it with a stick, and it pokes into something soft and yielding, of a different density than the meal. So. Yep.
What kind of density?
Mixed density.
How squishy does it feel?
Is it spongy?
It responds a bit. If you were to poke hard, though, it would get squishier. And then it would feel like you're piercing a membrane. Yeah, you get the impression that if you continue to poke hard, you're going to
Pop something.
puncture something.
Activate those.
Yeah, I was gonna say, stop making faces and go find out what's in there.
I want to brush the dust off.
Cool. All right, so you can do that. These mounds are, a few feet high, right? So it's a lot of this silt that's collected on top of them.
Reuven just phase blasts it.
Ooh, cool. All right.
We'll just sort of because I cause area damage, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just
totally,
sort of pop and be on the mid, or off to one side. Let's not be on the middle of it.
Yeah.
And just sort of blast it off the top of whatever this mound is.
So is this
All right.
a gentle breeze or a sticky?
Yeah.
Because
I mean, strong enough to move a pile, but
okay, as long as you're not hurting whatever's
like a snow blower.
It's not kind
shit.
of gentle. I was thinking if there's something soft and fragile under there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Actually
he
do
poked,
damage.
they poked it with a stick.
Yeah,
and
I
didn't
don't want to do
puncture it.
damage to the thing, right? I'm being careful enough to not do that.
They are a
Hopefully.
scientist, sort of.
Sort of.
Okay. Well, you blast that off, and the stilt first moves
Don't be an eye.
Why would you say this?
Ralph has to change his notes now.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, you blast it off, and it first moves as though it's in air, and then when it is light enough to move around like it's in the not water, you see some swirling and stuff
Sure.
like this. It all goes off in this rather aesthetically pleasing blast pattern.
Yeah.
Like the blast template that you use to indicate color spray or something like that.
Yeah.
D&D. And it.
I was thinking of like the visible air pressure from like Dragon Ball Z punches
Oh,
and stuff like that, right?
Yes,
We're getting
absolutely.
real anime on it. That's fine.
Yes, hell yeah, I'm totally with it. And it adds to the effect because this is stark white and there's a lot of it and it moves so distinctly, right? So after Reuven does that, you all look down and you see the decapitated head of a very large Lattimore. And yes, you were poking an eye.
I don't know what a Lattimore is.
Yeah, I was to say, I'm
Cool.
Googling. I'm Googling.
It's look in the book.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Where?
There are visitant races that you have the option of being instead of human, right? Like most Numenera PCs are human. But you can also be a visitant, right? Which is either an alien or some interdimensional traveler.
396, by the way,
396.
in Discovery.
Go ahead and take a look at the image.
Oh, okay. It's like a yeti kind of.
Yeah, like a yeti in fungal symbiosis.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, big?
They're usually pretty big. This one's the biggest you've ever seen.
7 feet tall is what the thing describes them as.
This one, based on the size of the head, was either. So this is the possibility. Either, based on those proportions, this Lattimore was 15 feet tall,
Oh, damn.
or just had the biggest head a Lattimore has ever had in history.
And was still like 12 foot tall.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy.
Yep.
Well, it's weird, but I feel a little bit better that there's other people here.
I'm just glad it wasn't Hope.
Why is he decapitated?
Something killed
That's
him.
right. Why are the bones broken? Where are the jellies and the fishies? The fishies come up and give you a little, kisses.
Did we note like a clear spot where the jellies and the fish stopped being?
Yeah. I won't say clear, but I understand what you're asking, right?
Like the line at which
Probably
Yeah.
takes like
they're not beyond.
There is
probably
a
takes
threshold.
like an after the fact like thinking about
Yes.
it. Like
Yeah,
Like, oh, I haven't seen it in a bit,
when
huh?
did we last see one of these?
exactly. Yeah.
Reuven would like to make sort of am I about to be ambushed by a big predator that's in this area check?
That's a good
Because
one.
that's
Okay.
that's the kind of thing that like, oh, the jellies know not to be here because there's something dangerous here.
Something
Yeah,
has been
because obviously
snapping
it
these bones and
decapitated
eating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
What sort of difficulty is that on a sort of investigating animals habitat sort of check?
Looking around, I'd say this is because you're making the check against the animal.
Mhm.
This is difficulty 6.
A success.
Look at that.
Got a 14, needed a 9.
Great.
Love it.
Hell yeah. This is
How-
what you
How
notice.
in danger am I?
This is what you realize. You walked up. Vet observed that, hey, the jellies and fishies haven't been here for some time. That, is weird. And Reuven says, yeah, animals have territories. You all look at the bones, and the bones are broken. And then Reuven looks closer at the bones and says, those bones weren't broken. Those bones were bitten through. and then also looks at the head of the Lattimore. I was like, that was not a clean cut. That head was
It chomped the
snapped
rest of the
off
body.
by jaws. Yes, exactly. And you hear a low rumbling. Have you ever heard an alligator roar or a crocodile roar? Have you ever heard that sound? Like watch a YouTube video or something like that? This low bass rumble when they're trying to communicate with each other. Yep.
Before the snapping happens.
Yes,
These
exactly.
would be the six-legged alligators.
Yes, exactly. So you hear that, and it's time to roll initiative. You're not ambushed, but it's time to roll initiative because one of these alligators leaps out of one of the dust piles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I guess it's a good thing you didn't poke that one.
Yep.
It's very nice of Ralph to let me poke with the dead one for the hint first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so does the boss fight music start before or after Ralph or Reuben snaps to attention and like
It starts
hate
right
billows
as
in the
yes.
with the dust pile still like blowing out in the wind behind them.
Yes. There's the cone. You're looking at it, you're like, this is gross. Reuben's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Beth's like, yeah, we're the jellyfish and the fish. And Reuben, being genre savvy, starts hearing that crescendo rising.
Yeah. Anyone else hear Latin chanting?
It's been a bit. What's the difficulty for initiative?
You just roll
have
it.
a button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if at least one of you beats the difficulty of the enemy, then you all go before the enemy. If none of you do, you go after the enemy, and it's a speed task.
And you can all roll, but I rolled a 20.
You did. You rolled. You succeeded.
I'm setting my pulls back because I know we have rested.
We definitely have
that's right.
rested.
Yeah, you definitely got plenty. What do you want your major effect on initiative to be?
We see it first.
Okay,
What is the
cool.
difficulty?
Well, you weren't ambushed, so the difficulty is 6. This is a level 6 alligator trying to ambush people. And you notice it has really long jaws. So normally caiman, have you ever seen a caiman, right? Or like,
Get that, like more narrow.
Yeah, it's getting more narrow. So this one isn't narrow, it's just
Crocodile
long
straw.
like a caiman. This is disproportionately long. Like you see this thing leap out, jump out of the pile, and you're like, how the hell does this thing move around? It doesn't make any sense, right? Because
As a sarcosuchus.
yes, that's right, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Looks like its jaw is longer than its whole body. And you're like, this is absurd, right? Like doesn't make any sense. Where the points for muscular attachment in order to articulate that jaw. This is just what is going on with this creature? And then, oh no, it's attacking me. That kind of thing. Okay, yeah, so we got at least one success, which means you all go before the Gata. What are you gonna do? Who's gonna go?
It's
What's
probably-
happening?
Yeah.
Recognizable threat.
Well, and for Faye goes boop and throws up this cipher that I've been sitting on for the longest time. My force screen projector that gives me 4 armor. It's like, no.
That's
And
pretty important. You don't want to get bit by that alligator. Look at them jaws. I told you about them jaws.
I'm looking.
what's the difficulty for an attack?
Respectfully. What's the what?
What's the difficulty for an attack?
It's a
6.
difficulty 6.
2-6.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure I got all right. I think that's all right. 2 levels of effort for free.
But just put in, because it'll do the math for you.
All right. Yeah, you hit it.
Some bonies.
Mm-hmm.
Bonus.
Where are you trying to hit it?
So a jaw that weak or that long has got to have some weak points. So I'd go either for the jaw or the eye, whatever is more like at the joint of the jaw,
Okay, yeah, totally.
or
Yeah.
the eye if that's more convenient.
It's up to you. If you want to dash in and try and punch it in his eye, you
Okay.
can.
I did that slightly wrong, so I'm going to do this again because it'll roll the damage for me. But can we keep that roll?
Totally.
Okay.
It's fine.
So 8 and then plus 2 damage would be 10.
10 damage. Woo, baby. Heck yeah. All right. So this alligator leapt forward dramatically, and it has this absurdly long jaw, and it can jump, and it has 6 legs. So the alligator, a predator like this is used to leaping forward and snapping things and breaking them immediately, right? Like some kind of stupid toy, right? Like just doing that, right? So you move forward. The alligator, assuming that it's going to ambush you all, as it is wont to do, and you punch it right in the eye, and the alligator snaps its eye closed and has these really bony eyelids, right? Like they're pronounced on the top of it, right? Closes its eyes closed so that you can't destroy its eyeballs. But your fist resounds with it so hard that the alligator lets out an involuntary gurgle. You call it something like a yelp, but it's this weird, like wet, like throaty sound of surprise. And because, as I've declared, right, we approach this in a transparent way because it's much easier for people to use finite resources. This particular creature has 30 health and 2 armor.
Sick.
Yep. So it is down to 22 health.
I can go.
Yeah, cool.
I know what I'm going to do also. If
All
y'all
right.
haven't killed it.
I can't do 22 damage in a turn. I will tell you that much.
We talked about how much you can do with that.
Across like 3 turns.
Well, I can make a very killer poison, but then I need 2 turns, one to make it and one to shoot with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because the needler.
The needler can apply it, and also it does damage.
You don't want to get bit by the alligator.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm gonna use phase sprint
Mm-hmm.
and run over there on the opposite side of the jaw
Cool.
to the other eye.
Yeah, do it.
And I'm going to also use disrupting touch for
Yeah.
the attack.
Awesome.
And phase detonation
Ooh, yeah.
at the point at which I come out when I
Mhm.
attack.
Excellent.
So the phase detonation does 4 damage that ignores armor.
Cool.
Just
Excellent.
happens.
Yep.
And then I'll need to actually make a roll for my disrupting attack.
Excellent.
All right. Difficulty 6. At some point, I picked up trained on this attack.
Yes, great.
because This is a great
Yes.
thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It helps a
I
lot.
was saying, you can get skilled and training in anything you want. Why not just get it on your powers?
I have failed.
Okay.
So the disrupting touch does deal 1 point of damage on a failure.
Okay.
Uh, The normal one ignores armor. I don't know that the failure point of damage. So. I will leave that to you to whether or not that.
I'm gonna give it to you.
applies.
Yep.
Okay.
Totally.
Now I gotta figure out how many points I just spent. It is some.
Yep.
It's not too bad.
I'm sure Ash.
Just
can
five,
probably go.
just 5 points of might.
Ooh.
You got it.
Well, actually, how big's your pool? I guess.
15.
Making it happen.
It's the only problem if I get hit, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Oh.
Okay, I have an idea actually.
Go ahead.
I have a Hunter Seeker missile.
Mm-hmm.
So
A what
Yeah.
now?
Right?
it's a little drone.
Like a missile or like a
Mhm.
missile?
No, like a missile.
Okay.
It's like a little pocket. In my head, it's kind of like a makeup compact. You just like flip it open and then activate it, and it shoots.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like a real spy gadget.
real spy gadget thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's my cipher. I'm gonna use it.
Go ahead, do it.
It's level 3, so it's going to try to attack up to 3 times to see if it hits. I
Okay.
don't know what I roll to make it hit.
You roll an attack against the difficulty of the enemy. So, if it is a ranged attack, you could, of course, benefit from any training or specialization you have in ranged attacks.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I still have it set as my flex skill, because, yeah.
There you go.
So it's a speed task?
Ranged attacks or speed tasks, yes.
Our difficulty is...
And also with this, depending upon how you're using it, you can make it an intellect task as well to operate Cipher, if you so choose.
Yeah, that's basically how I see it. Like, just sort of stepping back, dropping down, and pulling out my little thing, and just like typing in, activating it, and not quite driving it. It drives itself, but I need to know how to turn it on and make it go.
Exactly. Yeah, you need to program it well.
Okay, but what's our difficulty 6?
Yes, that's right.
I have training, so that drops it to 5.
That's right.
It'll do the math for you though. If you're clicking the roll.
Well, it's not going to factor in my assets and stuff.
Ooh,
How did I roll so bad?
D20.
Okay, well,
It's roll 2.
Roll 2.
Roll 2 every day. Roll 2 0 is what
well,
it
it's
is.
not used. It is, or
It is
it's
used.
on.
Yeah.
It's going to try to attack 2 more times.
Cool.
I guess on my turn. I don't know if it just tries to attack it 3 times right now.
No, it does on your turn.
Okay.
Yep. It's gonna whiz by. So this is what happens. You activate it. You're like, I know how to deal with this freaking alligator. Blow it up, and then it zooms by, and the alligator moves its head at the last moment, squinting its eyes at both Blaze and Reuven.
So you have my little missiles just flying around.
Yep. It's time for Faye.
I turned on my force screen
Oh,
projector.
That's what you did. Yeah, it's an action.
'Cause
Okay,
I
sounds
saw
good.
the thing and I was like, no,
Yeah.
not about to get
Good
eaten.
idea. All right. So, the alligator having the eyes squinted, you see it tense and unleash a flurry of motion. And in that moment, you now suddenly realize why the elves stayed in the creek manses for 800 years. Because the alligator attempts 2 attacks by waving its mouth from right to left, trying to chomp both of you in one snap of its jaws. So there's a sweep. You need to make a speed defense task, please. Difficulty 6.
Sick.
It is no
This
harder.
is gonna go well.
Boop, 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 boop.
I'm sure my 1 armor will save me.
Oh no.
Ooh, no.
I fail.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
no.
I failed a speed defense task.
I know. You had a
Wow,
shield.
Wow.
That's all the effort
What
you
is-
could put into it?
Roll 2. What is? We need to. I'm sending a goddamn email.
Amusingly, I haven't seen your roll yet.
Yeah, I'm still punching it.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you'd rolled a 2. I was like, not again.
No, Craig did.
Rolled a 3.
Yep.
Roll a 5.
No.
We're
Ooh,
just
no.
in that bottom quarter of the die.
All right. Okay. I am reluctant to say this. You both take 10 damage.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Yep.
Hey, my one armor did save me.
Yep.
I am not hindered.
Oh yeah, that's
My
all you need.
one might point, baby. Wait, how bad did I fail my last attack? I'm forgetting a thing.
Having been attacked, is it more the bludgeoning or the snapping that was the problem?
For you mean like trying to avoid it or for the
No,
damage?
the actual damage that it inflicts.
So this is what happens. You're not grappled yet, but it I don't want to say unhinged, but its jaw is so long, right? So you're on either
Mhm.
side of its eye.
Mhm.
In a flurry of motion, it moves. It like does this hop
Sure.
back and then snaps both of you together. So it's the crushing. It's a piercing and bludgeoning effect together. Snaps both of you in its long jaws. So you're now positioned along a line inside of its mouth, but you're not grappled, right? You don't have that effect where you're immobilized.
Theoretically,
Yes.
if I were in a position to do so, could I wrap my arms around the end of the snout?
Yeah, if you want to try that. Yeah, if you want to stay inside his mouth, sure.
Alligators have very strong closing muscles,
Uh-huh.
but
Yep.
much weaker opening muscles.
Yes, alligators do.
Well, and that's Blaze's thinking. With that much
Hmm.
length of jaw,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be a lot easier to hold the mouth shut. So
Might be, indeed. Yep.
he'll
Mhm.
give that a shot.
Sure, go ahead.
With you
Can I have-
inside it while it's still crushing you.
Can I have a
Well-
point of order real quick?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. Go ahead.
I forgot that when I phase, it makes my attacks do things easier.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
When I'm invisible phasing. And so I would have hit on my attack.
Oh, then how much damage do you do?
I do 4 additional damage.
I'm marking it down. It says 13 health. Thank you for correcting that.
Now, are we technically inside the jaws now?
You're in the jaws.
Okay, so can I
It
use?
is presently crushing you.
So I'll use my. Can I use my action to like kick?
Did Drew go?
Yeah, I activated my
Drew
armor.
activated the
That's
sight.
right. That's right.
Can I use my action to kick Reuven out?
The jaws?
Yeah, and just like rely on my strength to try and hold them open to get him out.
Oh, you're gonna try and hold the
Yeah,
jaw-
I didn't
so
want
thought
to.
you were
I
gonna
don't.
hold
I don't
the
want
jaws
to pin him
closed.
inside if I try and pinch the jaw shut. So
Oh,
let's-
gotcha. So you want to use your action to push Reuven out? Yes.
Yeah.
Also, you can move freely.
Reuven
so-
can escape.
Yeah. Also, yeah, the phasing.
Yeah.
Oh,
But Blaze
yeah,
can
that's
do that
true.
if Blaze wants to, right? It's
Like
entirely up
Blaze
to
has
you.
fought alongside Reuven enough to know that like
Yeah. Okay. No, I'll go
Reuven
for
can
the,
get out of a thing.
It isn't a grapple yet. It's a first get you
Yeah,
in
yeah.
position. The grapple's going to come next.
I'm
so
gonna try
if-
and. So I'll do the pin the jaw shut thing. I can.
If the alligator can move you in position and then crush you, then you're immobilized, and then it's eat elves heads or get the Lattimore heads off. Anyway, okay, so your action is you're going to try and close his restrict its jaws.
Yeah,
All right, it is a difficulty 6 test to try and hold his jaws closed.
and what I wouldn't use unarmed for that, or would I still use unarmed for that?
You can count it as an unarmed attack. Yeah, totally.
Sure. Okay,
Mhm. It's just you're not planning on doing damage, right?
that's correct.
Planning on. Okay, yeah. Then just roll your bonuses to an unarmed attack.
Yep.
Okay, you succeed. So, you're both inside the jaws of this alligator.
Well, my idea was to like do a flip up, run along
Mhm.
the top of the jaw, and then just drop down and give it a bear hug. If
Oh.
possible. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm trying
okay.
to-
So you're
I'm trying to
moving
pin
out
it.
of the jaws and you're trying to prevent it from opening them again.
That's right.
Okay.
And I'll
and-
trust that Reuven can get himself up.
Okay. So Ruin's still inside the jaws, but you're holding the jaws closed. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Why don't I just go first?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Craig, why are you doing
Oh,
this first?
okay, yeah.
It's really
Sure.
complicated.
I'm sorry, I
Um,
was just going by the same order we went before, but that's fine.
That's fair.
It's cool. No worries.
But I want to let you do this cool thing as you try and fucking Steve Irwin this goddamn
I
crocodile.
know, right?
I'm gonna do the opposite of what Steve Irwin would do. I'm gonna go invisible.
Yeah.
It's the
Hell
exact
yeah.
opposite of what Steve Irwin would do.
Well, if we go another round, you'll see what I'm about to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm about to disrespect this man and end his whole career. I go invisible and I run underneath. He's like tall enough that I can go underneath his belly. I'm picturing like a big motherfucking crocodile,
It's
right?
really big.
Okay.
Yes, it is like holy shit.
Like,
what is this thing?
Yeah.
How did it jump like that?
Like a huge size creature.
Yes,
In D&D terms.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
It's real big.
I'm gonna run down and I'm gonna be positioned right up in dragon position, right behind back right leg. Avoid the tail sweep.
Yep.
Avoid the jaws.
Yep. That's good.
We are in position.
Classic MMO fight a dragon strategy.
I went from, is that a kung fu stance to, oh no, that's an MMO reference. Okay, I got that now.
Classic
Hell
dragon
yeah.
position.
Mhm.
This is the best way to solve your elf shenanigans.
It's excellent. Yeah. Way to go.
Quick question: anybody know, are crocodiles cloacal creatures?
You want to know how they mate? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have 2
Think
minutes
that they
left in this
have
session. Why are you doing this?
I'm gonna fireball his asshole. Is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to shoot it.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah.
Let me see.
fine.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
One
So
way or
crocodiles
another,
have a
he's getting
hemimenis.
at the base of that tail. We're gonna roast a crocodile
Yeah,
tail.
They have two
On the next
intermittent
turn.
organs inside.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you can do
I
something
shoot
to
it.
the genitals.
You shoot it. Correct.
Yep.
Great job.
Okay, cool. How much damage?
It does 3 points of damage and poison. And I'm trying
3.
to find what the stats on poison are.
Cool.
But yeah, on the second pass, my little I'm picturing like a tiny, tiny little drone.
Mhm.
Just like
Thank you for
lands in
using me.
a soft spot on it.
Cool. Gotcha.
Like
yeah.
in its
so-
mouth.
Ooh, that sounds good. Go inside. It lets out another one of those, this time more angry, wet, gurgling sounds.
And yeah, 3 points damage, and it is now poisoned.
So, yeah, what level is the poison?
Is it the cipher level? I don't know. It doesn't say.
For on your hunter killer.
The Hunter Seeker, yeah.
So there is a poison needle that inflicts 3 points of damage. Oh, plus poison.
Plus poison, and that's all it says.
Yeah.
Well, then it'd be poison of the cipher level, and
Okay,
it
so
needs
3.
to meet the level of the creature in order to poison it.
Okay.
But the
So it
poisons
wouldn't
you can
poison
create
them.
on your own can likely be a level high enough that you can damage the creature. But if a cipher's level 3, then yeah, it wouldn't successfully poison it.
Okay.
But yeah, I marked down the damage.
That's some good damage though.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's angry,
Angry.
especially because how I imagine it is, you directed it and it missed, and then maybe you like corrected the telemetry a little bit, and then it flew inside the jaws before Blaze closes
So it basically swallowed a bee.
them. Yeah, that's no good.
Between Vet and Reuven, just poor guy's gonna get it from both ends.
Ooh, yep, that's right. Alrighty, so what is Faye doing? And then we're gonna have Blaze wrapping up with the awesome drama.
You know, I probably could have had this all like set up first, but nope. I'm gonna split this like that and roll. Whoop.
Okay.
My little
Ooh.
iotum ray that I'm now trained in.
Ooh, damn! If only you got a 17.
I know, maybe a little bit more damage, but that's fine. I put 2
That's
effort
a bunch
into
of damage though.
because I
It
put 2
is.
effort into it.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. See.
This thing's hurting, huh?
Mhm.
It is.
I
It
hope.
is indeed.
About to death roll the shit out of Blaze.
Cool. It's got 5 health left.
Oh, it probably won't have a chance to then.
So yeah, Blaze is gonna trap its jaws, right? You want to describe again what you do? You jump on, leap out, and run along it. Is that what happens? Or you just wiggle out and grab its jaws?
Yeah, and just run out the top and then drop and do the bear hug thing.
Cool. Sounds
Try
good.
time to grab it as it's snapping its jaw shut or something.
All right, wonderful. So yeah, it is of course going to try and open them again, and you snap it shut, and you hear an incredibly angry gurgle come out from its closed jaws, especially because the explosion from the missile goes off at the same time, and it gets this frenzied look on its face and squats down on the ground and then does this weird hop and spins around like it's death rolling in the air, trying to slam you into the ground to get you off its mouth. So please make a speed defense task, difficulty 6.
Right.
You succeed.
There you go.
Hooray.
So you're able to brace, and if it's okay with you, I'll say that you loosen your grip just enough for it to spin on the inside and grab it again.
Sure.
Unless you want
Hell yeah.
something else, unless you want to describe something else. So
Unless if it manages to throw me up in the air, but I land and grab again.
sure, yeah,
Like he
if you
was
prefer
gonna,
that. Yeah, totally. Totally. So it isn't able to get you off. And yeah, I know it's the time. I'm pretty sure you all could take this out in this next round. So please do so.
Let Reuven do whatever.
Mhm, that's exactly what I was thinking. Reuven
Make it
is set up.
happen.
Finish him.
Yes.
And
All
the
right,
next.
so I'm invisible until I do an attack,
Cool.
which eases attacks by 2 things.
Ooh, that's good.
So I am going to make a onslaught
Yes.
and just sort of fiery uppercut him in the booty.
Yes. That's right.
So it's 4 trains. It'll be 3. The way I've been rolling tonight. How much health does he have?
5.
5 health.
Sick.
Put it all into hit.
Only does 4 damage.
Oh no.
You do effort. If you do
Yeah.
1 level effort for
I got it.
damage, you would
Yep,
kill,
got it.
considering the armor.
Come on.
Yeah.
14. We got him, boys.
Boom! Right in the booty. You want to describe how the punch a little more? I'm tell you
Not
what,
really.
what the aftermath is. Okay, sounds good. So, onslaught uppercut comes right at the rear end of this dragon analog, and a wave of force and viscera comes surging through its body and erupting its mouth involuntarily, pushing Blaze back, who instinctively knows how to avoid this and spins out of the way as blood and guts come erupting out of the mouth
Sick.
of the alligator, and it dies with a throaty, disappointing gurgle.
Did Reuven just literally turn this thing inside out?
Yep.
Not quite.
Sort of.
Yeah, a little bit. I made him pukies.
Yep. That's exactly what happened.
Of which I will note, Faye, who hasn't moved, is standing there surrounded in this ring of gore and viscera with his little flickering projector, and I was like, this is the best decision I've ever made.
It's so
I
good.
can't make poison strong enough for these alligators.
You said you can't?
I can make my poison is level 2, and then it upgrades with effort, and I only have 3 effort to spend.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
That's fair.
Got to get trained in that or something, maybe. So, we'll have to figure this out next time, though.
Yeah.
Yep. Did
For
you
now,
not
we have
upgrade,
conquered your deadly alligator puzzle.
That's right, exactly. Did you not upgrade your effort when you moved to level 4?
Not
Did
yet.
you choose to not upgrade it?
She might have skipped it once.
Mhm.
No, I did.
Oh, okay. Maybe you skipped effort. Okay, gotcha. Fair enough.
On the previous tier, I don't have one.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, you didn't choose that. All right.
Just because it gets so expensive to do.
Lots
Yes.
of effort.
2 or
That's
3 or
right.
whatever,
Exactly.
so
Yeah. If you're like,
That's
I'm not
why I
gonna
skipped it once. I was
apply
like,
4
I'm gonna
levels
get
of
an extra
effort. Yeah.
thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
makes sense. Yep. All right.
Anyways, well, that was a fun
Yes.
session.
that was real good. Oh man, yeah, I love it. All right, so I think we'll pause our story there for next time. See the aftermath and where is Hope? Where is she? Right. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's so fun. We are playing Numenera in the Cypher System by Monty Cook Games. Shout out to Monty Cook Games. Once again, shout out to Roll 20, who we've renamed Roll 2. And
Did not go well for us tonight.
No.
it
Overall,
didn't go well. Change your dice spotter or random number generator.
you got to
or something.
reload, Jay.
We got a lot of twos. You just need to refresh things, okay? Something's going on there. And of course, thanks again to all of our patrons. Really appreciate you for watching. Any of you who are new, checking things out. If you would like to get your name read out in a funny way, you can do so at staylucky.club. If you want to join everybody on the awesome Discord where people share cool photos of animals and foods and talk about their games, right? Not just this one, but their own games, cool stuff. Or just chat with some real cool, mild manners, interesting folks. Come on by. That's at yeetinto.space. Yeah, I think that's enough for now. Y'all got other things you want to share, shout out, tease?
Nope.
No? Okay.
All right.
All right. With that said, see you next time, folks. Stay curious.